What is up, and welcome to Twin Dragon Podcast Show. We're your hosts. My name is Mike.
And I'm Bobby. The show will be about two young working professionals going through the craziness of life. We'll have fun conversations about current events and what's happening in our lives. So, why do you want to know more?
Well, if you're bored at home, eating, or just chilling, and want to listen to something new, you've come to the right place.
All right, so welcome back, guys, to the Twin Dragon podcast. Just to let you know, everyone, this is our third take. We're having so much difficulties with technology.
Technology is hard when it's not working for you.
Yeah, I think this is our first time trying to do remote podcasting. I think because we've been trying to do it when we're together, but it's always hard, and because it's hard to just meet up in person sometimes.
Yeah, considering the fact that we're like a couple thousand miles away from each other.
Just 1,000.
Just 1,000 or something, you know. Tell them where you are, Bobby.
So I'm still in Austin, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you? Where are you at?
All the way in the deep south. I see. I'm
Deep
in
South.
Heck yeah, bro. I'm in the greatest city in the world, apparently. Everybody loves it.
Apparently.
The Big Apple, Manhattan. You guys might have heard of it. Manhattan, New York City. Yeah. So yeah, I'm up here and Bobby is down there, and we're trying to, do a podcast for you guys. And we were like Bobby said, trying to figure out sort of what the best way to do it is, and we were having sort of trouble sort of like how to get the audio working. We were using GarageBand, the software in Apple that's like comes with the computer, I guess. But I was having so much trouble with it, and it was giving me these weird, almost like buzzing insect sounds in my headphones when I was recording it on GarageBand. And then we were also using Zoom at the same time to hear ourselves and also see each other. And I think it was like causing some sort of interaction with my laptop, causing it to buzz when we were recording. And so we just decided to just use Zoom, basically
just
but
just simple. Just the simplest thing we can do.
simplest, budget friendly, beginner, etc. Basically.
But yeah, I'm hoping that the quality just turns out okay. It is raining where I'm at right now. I don't know if you can hear it in the audio.
And it's like sunny and bright with blue skies up here. So, very stark contrast.
It's really really stark.
But it's okay, right? We're beginners, we're bootstrapping this podcast. Using Zoom might not be the greatest quality audio, whatnot, but we'll get there, as long as you guys, help us, try to
Mhm.
help us. And if you're into it, if you think we're doing something interesting that you like to know more, yeah, just continue listening and just help support us, and we greatly appreciate that. But I think, to let you guys know, like, what exactly are you sort of listening? And I think we initially wanted to do a podcast that sort of talked about different topics like AI, healthcare, Bitcoin, because we thought those were important topics and also very relevant. And for both of us, we've both been in healthcare. And so we thought we would be able to share our perspective. But then along the way, we sort of realized that it was a lot of work to do the research and put together sort of a script or outline for what we're going to talk about for that topic that we researched, and just to do it in a way that's useful and also engaging uh, was the plan. And we wanted to do it in a Q&A format where one of us was going to ask a question, and then we would explain or answer it, so that it wouldn't be like we're presenting the information in a sort of lecture way.
Yeah, yeah, at first, yeah, it was something that Mike was wanting to use as an kind of like an outlet. I think the first idea he had was a blog, and I think it wouldn't get the credit that he would kind of deserve for if he were to write it in a blog. I think because not a lot of people look for blogs, and most people look into YouTube or just like kind of podcasts as kind of like the more mainstream thing to get information from. But I guess what was your thought when I presented the idea of like, hey, maybe you should do a podcast?
I thought it was going to be a lot of work because, I mean, writing stuff is obviously a lot easier just putting it up online. And, once you're finished writing, it's there. Whereas, when we use audio or even visual, we have to like set things up, we have to like edit it, we have to, listen to it, work on it, tweak it, and see if it works. Whereas writing is like, you can draft something really quickly and then edit it, and then there you go. But like Bobby was saying, everybody seems to be on this rage with podcasts and YouTube channels because obviously it's more entertaining to listen and see things as opposed to, you reading your stuff. That's like, am I reading a book or like, we already do enough reading as it is from school or work or whatnot. So, this would be a more sort of casual medium that's easily accessible and also more fun for people, hopefully.
Yeah, I think it was also kind of I think this past week we were trying to record something and then just kind of downed on me that it's not gonna work basically, not us but just I think the topic of the podcast, I think yeah, just going along the lines of like it's gonna be work. And um it didn't settle down with me very well in that it having to be work, and I wanted it to actually be something fun for us to do. um and I think kind of going back in just terms of how other podcasters do it, it doesn't seem like they're doing work, but they're more having fun with it. And that's not what I kind of envisioned and imagined.
Dang, this guy having big visions starting out, which is good, I guess. But yeah, it's kind of like what Bobby was saying. We were feeling that it was becoming a burden to do this because it was taking so much time, and it was not sort of what we wanted to do, where it became like another job or another task that we had to do, because that takes out the fun for doing it. And honestly, I don't think it would make us create good content for you guys if we're just feeling like we are obligated or not enjoying it in the process, because people do better work when they're engaged and having a good time. And so we decided to make a pivot, as the business world would say it. And we are pivoting towards, instead of just talking about sort of so many different topics and requiring so much research, but what better topic to do than, about us? It doesn't require that much research, because we know what's going on with our lives, and we can sort of share that with you guys just to get a sort of like inside perspective or sort of what is going on in our lives. And I'm sure it can be beneficial to you guys because we meshed with a lot of people in our age range, or like people going on like the category of young single working professionals. I'm sure a lot of our listeners can relate, and if you aren't in that category, I'm sure a lot of topics that we go through, I mean, people experience very similar things. Or it would be interesting maybe to share and then also hear from you guys sort of
Mhm.
what your take is about different things, and then that helps us be more informed as well as you guys. So just like sort of like it's almost like a transaction of perspectives or opinions, so to speak, but in a very casual, laid back format that's conversational still and fun, hopefully.
Yeah, I think this new format that we're doing is intriguing to me because I think we're trying to get inspiration from different people. Um, you know, I think sharing our journey and just like what it looks like, because first of all, you kind of have a path that where it's gonna take, and I'm kind of doing a different career change that um I don't know where it's gonna lead. And yeah, I think it's exciting to just kind of share it and just like see what people think or what oh yeah, just kind of share it what will happen.
I'm sure a lot of people can probably relate to just, you know, you're also basically doing a career change, which is also a pivot. And, you're going to something that a lot of people are also probably going into because, technology and programming is very popular right now and there's a lot of demand. And for me, I'm kind of fitting this sort of stereotypical path of like being a doctor. And I'm sure maybe not a lot of you guys would relate to being a doctor, but I'm sure a lot of you guys had a sort of like a role or a position that you guys were working towards. And so you guys could also relate to that. And you can also share your journey as well. Because, we are only two people and we're only experiencing two sort of like perspectives and sort of like our career trajectory. And I'm sure a lot of our listeners have very different sort of experiences of what they're going through in their, career and jobs as well.
Yeah, I think hopefully through this, not just sharing, I hope that we kind of just learn new things along the way, either just even like how to story tell. I think that's something that I really was captivated by one of the podcasts that we listened to together. Just being able to just what do you call it? Share the story and just give the people the image of what they are hearing, through either if they're listening to just audio or just or visual as well. What do you think
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah. I think it's definitely a skill that some people are just so good at talking about random things and just can go on and on. I'm not like that. So if any of you guys aren't like that, I feel you. But like Bobby said, we are like not just like sharing, but also for us, it's like something new and something we're learning. And, like he mentioned, there's this podcast. It was like three or something, three or four women, basically like soccer moms. But they were sharing that one of them was sharing their experience, going through the healthcare system in America. What is it like to, have cancer and as such a young person, a young adult, and just going through that. And she painted such a good sort of image in my mind of like what she went through, what was happening, what was it like, the difficulties, even like the what do you say, like the occasion, like what happened in that moment. And she made it feel like a lot of people can sort of visualize it and be there with her is to see like, yeah, that seems very difficult. That would be really difficult. And for me hearing it, since I'm a medical student and part of the healthcare field, like, I couldn't really understand what she went through and what she was explaining, and I think, like Bobby said, they have this really good skill of storytelling that, is something that we are interested in also learning to hopefully improve this podcast as we go on. What were your thoughts on the podcast?
I think it was pretty nice because again, they know each other, and then I think they kind of I guess some of them didn't know that lady's story, and they kind of kind of intrigued interest and put their input, because I think one of the other ladies was a nurse, and she just kind of shared things that they should have done and should have not done. Um, and just the other person just kind of like sympathizing, like, wow, that's kind of crazy. Um, I think just having those kind of troubles of like trying to find care for her shouldn't be happening to people, especially in um, our time of age. It shouldn't be like that, people trying to find their appropriate care for whatever diagnosis that they have.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate thing in America, but that's like a whole, big topic by itself, just talking about
Yeah.
the healthcare system. So we will not touch that, but you can kind of see, a bit of our perspective on that. But for our channel, I think we are going to try to sort of story tell ourselves in different situations that we think might be interesting to share with you guys. And one of those is sort of like how we sort of got started. Uh, I don't know if you guys heard our intro or our first episode, just sort of explain to you guys sort of like who we are and sort of our background. But just like one of the things that we mentioned was uh, the concept that we are very different in sort of our upbringing. I think Bobby mentioned it earlier, but we have very different perspective, not just in career, but just even in our upbringing, our families, culture and things like that. And very different, but also at the same time, we're similar in many aspects as well. Humor,
um
preferences for certain things, um, let's just keep it at that. But and so that's kind of how we sort of based our concept on how our name for this podcast originated. Do you want to
yeah,
tell them more about that?
yeah, I think in the beginning, I guess I put it upon myself to figure out the name of our logo and stuff like that. And it was really hard, I think, because like I guess a name is something that has to be creative, unique, and kind of gives describes yourselves. And yeah, I tried title generators, looked at things that we both like, things are kind of like our careers, trying to get inspiration from other podcasts of like their titles, and I guess nothing really fit. But I think when we were, I guess me and Mike both like Avatar, and something that kind of really stuck a lot was just like dragon and fire and stuff like that.
He's
And
obsessed with, like, if you guys watched Avatar, he's obsessed with like Prince Zuko for some reason. He just loves that character.
I think, well, first of all, he has such a great character, just that character development, just like what he goes through, and just um but yeah, I think just um yeah, the character development, just what he goes through, and just change, and how he becomes friends with the main characters. I think that's what I kind of really like. But I guess going back to the logo, um I think dragon kind of fit because I ended up describing Mike as a dragon, because I guess it's something of like his culture as well. But then I was like thinking, oh, we're kind of similar as well, twin. And I was like, oh, twin dragon. Um, and I liked it. It was something different, and um, there was some kind of like some feedback. Some people kind of thought it was like like a Chinese restaurant. They would have thought about it, but I think I think there's something that's hilarious, is that people associate, when they first hear it, they associate it with like Asian, like why? Why?
I mean, it's dragons, so I guess, but I mean, there are also dragons in, Western culture and stuff like that. Maybe not the same kind of like picture of one, but I think the name is I think the name is unique, I guess. I mean, like, there's no like wrong names. I mean, it's
It
all,
sounds fun.
I mean, yeah, it sounds, we like dragons. Dragons are cool. If you don't like dragons, well, too bad. But, and then the concept of twin, like we mentioned, we're sort of similar in sort of how we see things and, what we like, and, we get along pretty well, I would say. And so, there's that sort of like connection right there, what I'm saying? If you gotta have a close friend, finish each other's sentence, stuff like that. Anyways, but yeah, I think it was a good name, and um, so good job on coming up with that name. But yeah, we're in the process of trying to find a logo, right?
Yeah, we're still in the process of the logo. Hopefully, by the time you actually hear this, like there's gonna be a logo. Um, and yeah, and I think hopefully by the time, yeah, you hear this, we have a logo and we're all kind of satisfied. It's been a journey trying to find a logo, and what do you call it? Um, yeah, I think there's a certain, I guess for me, I'm very particular in how things look, and I'm hoping that whatever comes out is satisfying. Um, yeah, I don't know. What do you have a particular taste in how things look?
I think it's I think as long as it doesn't look weird. I know you sent me like one of this picture, I guess, in for future reference of, the avatar characters. I guess the art kind of looked different. It was kind of like I don't know how to say it. Sort of, it was cartoon based, but it was not sort of like it was sort of like a particular style, very hard to describe, but it was definitely like sort of animated,
Yeah,
cartoon based.
cartoony.
Exactly. And it just kind of looked kind of weird. There was a blend to like sort of how we looked in the cartoon character. So I was you know, Zuko because he thinks I'm Zuko, so sure. And then I think you were Bolin, is that correct?
I think I was just an earthbender.
You're just an earthbender. Okay.
Yeah.
So you weren't cool enough to have your own character.
Nah, just my own individual identity.
Well, you might be way you might be cooler because you have your own identity. And yeah, it was sort of a blend of how we looked in real life with the cartoon character with the cartoon drawing, and I thought it was a little kind of like kind of interesting, kind of weird. But there was another logo that you showed me that was like a picture of, you know, two dragons. I think if I remember correctly, they were circling each other. They were kind of like drawn with like black and um, like two dragons circling each other and with, I don't know, spikes or something. And they were uh, one was black and one was, I forgot the other color, but I thought that was a pretty interesting logo. What were your thoughts on that?
um, I think again, there were kind of like all drafts and inspirations. I think yeah, I'm trying to get like different inspirations because what like trying to figure out what's like current and just what people would like find attracted to is really hard. I think even finding the resources because I ended up hiring someone to um to build our logo. I think just because I need to get things done, I need to things look a particular way. Um
A man taking charge.
and then yeah, I think some of the things that I've used is like Instagram. I looked up different or I guess I looked through different catalogs of people's profiles and who do art for a living, and they like take requests and stuff like that. And it's kind of hard because some people actually are a business, and I don't want to pay too much for something that just is gonna go as a logo. um
Yeah, we're also starting out. You know, we're not dropping like, you know, a lot of money on things that we're starting out that we can probably change later too, right? Like we can
yeah, for
ch
sure.
change the logo. We just need something that sort of can capture like sort of what we're about, like the podcast that we think is a cool graphic to, you know, put as a logo. But I mean, we've seen people like, you know, do YouTube channels who, you know, change their logos later on, you know, find something
Hmm.
better. And also, I think, you know, podcasts or channels can evolve over time, you know, like they can change or take a different direction. And maybe the initial logo didn't sort of like, doesn't sort of capture it anymore. Uh,
Yeah, I think
right.
I think I want to evolve as we evolve. I think
Dang. Dragons evolving, guys, like Pokemon, bro.
I think some of the things I want to do is just like also make a video version of this podcast. But I think it's kind of hard, um I think even today there was, I have roommates and you live in a busy city that's loud. And I think
Not when you're 20 stories above ground. I think that helps a little bit.
yeah, and yeah, even just the noise of like the rain, I think it kind of stopped. But I think once we find something that's more comfortable where we can actually record, it would be helpful to just be comfortable. I think yeah, just record just in general.
Yeah, I think you raised a lot of good points about, you know, finding a good recording area because we've heard like on, you know, a lot of people make videos about, you know, what are some ways to make it sound better, look better. And yeah, just finding a good place to record is one thing that is a really big thing, actually. Just a quiet environment. Also, the room does can't be too echoey. Otherwise, you know, you'll hear feedback or echoes in the volume or the sound. And you mentioned about sort of having this as a visual or YouTube channel, YouTube videos later on, and yeah, just that. it's like more equipment and more setup. And like even with this podcasting is like, we have to set the microphone, we have to set the volume for it. We have to set up the device. We have to check the audio. Does it sound right? Is there feedback? Is there weird sounds? Can we get a quiet place? This all kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier about having a blog, which I mentioned, all you have to do is just write something. Does it sound comprehensible? Does it make sense? Does it not have too many grammar mistakes or errors? And then, once that's done, you submit it, and all you have to do is make sure your website doesn't get taken down, and have like a domain name. And but I think overall it makes it more interactive between us. And maybe when there's videos later on, you can see us. And then there'll be even like live streams, like people like have like a live chat that they can talk to people who are streaming live and stuff like that. So there's definitely more room to go with this later on, as we go for, like, as Bobby says, evolve, as opposed to sort of like a blog where you're just kind of like stuck with like writing things. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to sort of like where we take this, going forward. And hopefully we can make it even more interacting as we sort of get down the basics of how to start a podcast or a channel. But if any of you guys are starting out first, definitely let us know what your experience was like, and we can maybe like commiserate together, like, man, there's a lot of stuff that we have to like think about and do and figure out and take into consideration. But yeah, what are you thinking, Bobby, like, going forward?
I think first of all, like, yeah, I think I want our like podcast to be something that it's, I think, family friendly and just wholesome. I don't want it to be like
Wholesome.
yeah, I think just because I don't want it to I don't want drama. I don't want anything to like um
Drama.
I just want it to like be real, yeah, just lighthearted, just let us talk and you can enjoy it and we can all have fun. And yeah, that's all I kind of want there to happen.
But we're gonna keep it real for y'all too,
But yes, we're gonna keep it real. I think, yeah, hopefully there are things that in our lives we can just share. I think because we stand behind a biblical background and we're gonna kind of do that. So there are gonna be things that we're not gonna talk about. I think just because just our preferences of how comfortable we are talking about things like that. So if we don't talk about certain things, then that's how it's gonna be.
Yeah, I think that's sort of like, yeah, something that we believe to sort of, I guess, our sort of like direction and sort of like principles for this podcast, like certain things that we won't talk about due to our, uh, Christian backgrounds. And those are just things that we want to do for our channel. And if that's something that you don't like, or something that you don't feel is right, or you have different opinions, that's fine. And so we're not like forcing anything down anyone. And we respect your decision as well, but we just wanted to say this up front. So when people ask like, hey, why aren't you talking about this, or hey, why aren't they covering that, you guys will sort of like have like, oh yeah, they mentioned that this is something that they probably wouldn't talk about, because they're Christians. But I think from sharing our perspective, I think it can still even help people, I think, because I'm sure like our experiences isn't going to be that much different from what the average person. And people can feel like, oh yeah, this someone else is also experiencing this, and I guess can feel better. It's like, yeah, I'm not the only one too. Wouldn't you say that?
Yeah, yeah. I think also just like I think the people who would want to hear it, or I think we're hoping that it would also reach some younger audiences. I think because if you were to share your journey as a medical student, there are probably like future doctors who want to hear that, middle schoolers or high schoolers, and
Dude,
we
middle schoolers should not be thinking about, oh, I want to be a doctor. They should be figuring out, oh, what do I like to do and what do I don't like to do. High
that is true.
schoolers, Maybe, but still kind of early.
But you never
But
know.
yeah.
You never know. Like there might be things that we haven't talked about. Like I think for sure we want to talk about certain shows we watched that,
Mm,
Marvel stuff, that's something we
mostly
talked
Marvel
about.
stuff, basically.
Yeah.
We watch a
Uh,
lot of Marvel stuff.
it's pretty good actually, if you haven't seen
Pretty good, actually. I mean, they're always pretty decent
it.
because Disney knows how to make movies
Yeah, they do.
or shows
Or
for that matter.
Marvel's for sure. But yeah, I think just for like if a parent were to listen on because their kids are listening to it, they would agree like, oh, okay, you can listen to that. I don't mind.
So you're saying we want to be G rated?
Yeah, most likely, yeah.
Most like not even. What about PG or PG-13?
Um, if parents are okay with us speaking certain things, then yeah, that's whatever rating I want it to be.
Hmm. I guess we will like sort of make a disclaimer about some topic we're going to talk about before, but I don't think it would ever go to the extent that
Yeah.
a parent would feel uncomfortable with their kid listening to it, because we don't touch that kind of thing. If you guys are looking for that kind of stuff, this might not be the channel for you.
Yeah.
But I think it's helpful to sort of like lay the groundwork for what we're about, what this podcast is going towards, like what direction we're taking, and sort of how we got started with the name and logo and where we're at. Is there anything else you feel like our audience should know?
Hmm. Hmm.
I can't really think of anything off the top of my head either.
Me neither. Well, I just can't wait to talk about other topics and just kind of share with them, I don't know, just different stories that we've been through. I think one of them is like hopefully talk about WandaVision and just like what she's experienced. I guess like the experience of that and just how we can relate to that. Um,
Yeah, we have quite a bit of shows that we've watched that is something we can talk about. Definitely we will talk about. And also just, my journey as a medical student, a lot of things
mhm.
that I experienced like on the inside. A lot of people are like, med school, be a doctor, but they don't actually understand the process and
Kind of like,
your
yeah, kind of like the good sides, but there's also like the dark sides of it.
or information that you can't readily find on the internet usually, and also your experience about getting a new job in a new career in a new field, what that's like,
Or just
and
like corporate working.
corporate working,
Oh my
business
God.
business world basically.
Yeah.
And then also our trips, we go on a lot of trips. There's another topic that we can talk about. And oh, and personal finance, I think, is something that's big for me.
Mhm.
That would be interesting to just talk about it in sort of laid back way. I'm not going to be sharing my finances, obviously, but we're just like sort of like tips, advice, things that I've read and learned and experienced doing, even like trading stocks and stuff like that. I think a lot of people would be interested. I mean, finance is such a big topic. Like, there's so many channels on finance and on podcasts, blogs, YouTube. Everybody's talking about finance because everybody's all big on money. But
Yeah, yeah, I've been seeing a lot of that on Facebook. Just people are posting like what do you call it? The trends of like their I don't know, their stocks, and they're like, do you see what's going on here? Kind of like showing off a little bit.
I think it's
Um
always showing off.
yeah, and it's weird. It's like, oh, all of a sudden you're interested, and um just crazy how like things just pop up like that. Like people are just into it.
Yeah, I think it's just because like the government's just been so right now we're in kind of towards the tail end of pandemic. Most of you guys probably know that anyways. I mean, the whole world knows that. But yeah, and then the US government has just been pumping out so much money. So, everybody has like free money, basically stimulus checks. So, they're like, what do we do with this money? Let's buy random stuff and try to make more money and stuff like that. But yeah, so those are some of the topics that we will cover in a future episode. But this episode was just sort of laying the groundwork of like where we're going and where we're at, and just kind of giving a introductory, almost another introductory episode, because we made this switch in where we're taking the podcast. So hopefully that was helpful to you guys listening to get a sense of what we're all about. And yeah, I think
Yeah, thank you for bearing with us. So just like for us to explain this kind of like part of the podcast was I think it's really important just to explain, hey, this is what it's about, and even further in depth, because even for us, we need to kind of like explain, and even to each other, this is what we need, and this is what we should do.
we're giving it to really raw and real and what's going on. So hopefully you guys like that. But yeah, likewise, thanks again for listening, and we hope to catch you in the next one.
All right, see ya.
Later.
Thank you again, guys, for listening to the Twin Dragons podcast. If you guys want to know more about a topic or want us to do a specific video, let us know in the comments below.
And please like and subscribe if you want to help support us. Keep a lookout on our social media accounts so that you can keep up to date with any new episodes that come out and get connected. And we'll catch you guys in the next episode.